and degrade our Native women, and it just creates that whole bullying thing. And if you see some of the negative stuff people say to me, it's another level of cyberbullying. I'm dealing with adults, you know, and I work with kids. I work with at-risk youth on our reservation and other reservations, and I tackle these issues with, you know, substance abuse, domestic violence, bullying, peer pressures, and whatnot with all these youth. So it's a big deal for me because I know the statistics. I see it firsthand. I see the suicides. I see the things going on with, you know, women going missing and the sexual assault that happen with our not only Native youth, but, you know, the women population and the communities in our area. So it's a real deal for us. I mean, and a lot of times, you know, the cultural sensitivity and the idea of what's going on is not being seen. It's just like, okay, it's just part of the joke, and we're all in on it. And it's not funny to us.
It's not funny, and I think if more people had awareness, I did I probably a couple of years ago, I did a show on South Dakota, and I'm friends with some people over on the Cheyenne River Reservation and Pine Ridge, and we were talking about, I was talking about a crime that's going on in this country, and South Dakota is, I think, one of the second most corrupt states in the nation. Georgia is number one. And I was trying to explain to my listeners that there's something going on, and it's not just going on in South Dakota. This is very common, folks, in Native American country, where children are taken away from their home. They're not even able to stay with their grandparents or have any kind of cultural upbringing. It's all a moneymaker so that the state can get money, because for every child they take away and put into boarding or foster homes, the state, South Dakota, makes a killing every year on this. It's a profit. They don't really care about the welfare of the child. If they did, they would keep the child on the reservation. If the parents aren't able to tend to that child, then the aunt or the grandparents. Still keeping that child within their Native American customs, where they have the opportunity to go to powwows and they have the opportunity to be involved in their customs. They're completely taken away. People don't realize that this is happening, and it's really sad. There needs to be more awareness of this. I always tell my listeners this. Learn a lesson from the Native Americans, because when our government told the Native Americans, don't worry, we're going to take care of you, it didn't work out so well. Remember that, folks, out there. I trust nothing my government says, and I tell my kids to question everything that comes their way. We have to build awareness. And you're very right, Lauren. Many Native American women go missing all the time. I see it all the time because I'm connected with a lot of Native American websites, and it happens every day. And, you know, even the ones that are incarcerated, there's women that get incarcerated, and they're incarcerated for ridiculous things. I read a story about a Native American woman had one marijuana joint. I think this was in Oklahoma. And she's in prison for 20 years. 20 years for a marijuana joint. And we've got some asshats running around that have stolen from people and have murdered and raped and killed, and they're walking scot-free. That's the real travesty, is what's happening in this country. And just like natives, it's happening with the African American population. More African American men are in prison and incarcerated for minor things like marijuana possession. And they're in prison for 10, 15, 20 plus years solely because of the color of their skin. Because if it was a white boy, they wouldn't get that much time, you know. Mm-hmm. It's really sad, and you're our hope, Lauren. I have to say, you're our hope, and I stand by you. I support you. I would have walked off the set too. It's just disrespectful.
I appreciate your support, and I appreciate anybody else that's listening right now that's been supporting and, you know, letting us know online or, you know, through emails and whatnot, because it is helpful to know that, you know, we you know, have that backing that we have, you know, with that. because, you know, a lot of times the negative stuff, you know, it seeps in now and then, and you know, there may be like one comment out of 100, you know, that kind of dampers the moment sometimes, but then we gotta remember why we did it, and, you know, it's always the right choice, and you gotta follow your heart, you know, no matter what, you know, speak from your mind, but also, you know, speak from the heart as well.
Absolutely, you do, and I said this in my broadcast earlier, I said I would rather stand alone for what is right than stand with many for what is wrong. And I stand true to that to this very moment. I would rather stand alone for what is right than stand with a whole bunch of morons for what they think is right, but you know in your heart, in your soul, that it's wrong. It's just completely wrong. I'm having such an incredible response from the chat room right now, Lauren. I wish you could see this. We have so many people commenting, and one woman, one of my dear friends, Lizzie, is saying yes, respect for women. She totally agrees. My aunt is in there, my Aunt Barbara, and she's saying yes, respect is very needed on many reservations. The domestic violence against women is higher in Native communities than in most other communities. We do have some out there that are awake and aware. Luckily, they're my friends and family that are seeing this and know. But I see it all the time, and I've been to the reservations, and I have seen some of the things that have taken place, and I see, you know, some of you out there don't realize this, but some of these reservations are literally third world countries. You do not have to go to Africa or South America or Central America or parts of Mexico to see this. You can go to Pine Ridge and see this. You can go to some of the other reservations. I didn't see too much of this when I was in New Mexico. Maybe I wasn't on, you know, I was on a different reservation. I actually had a very disturbing experience happened to me in New Mexico when I was there, and I'm going to share it with you, Lauren, if you don't mind. I went to Isleta Indian Reservation.
Okay.
And Isleta. And I couldn't get in to the reservation. In fact, I had gotten in, and then I was escorted off by government police. I just kind of sat there going, this is an omen. This is not a good sign. Why? And they had made me open the trunk of my rent-a-car. And I'm going, why? I'm leaving the reservation like you ordered. Why? And he says to me, just don't question me. Open the trunk of your car. I'm like, okay. I don't need any problems with the po-po. I opened the trunk of my car. There's nothing in it. It's a rent-a-car. And I finally said to him, what did you think I had in there? He goes, I thought you were harboring natives to get off the reservation. I'm going, okay. You know, I'm a tourist. I'm kind of here on a paranormal investigation, and I was just my Friday was free, and I wanted to go see the sites by myself, and I hear I'm being harassed by the New Mexico police for this issue, and I was just floored by it, you know, and then they were beating some guy. I mean, literally, the amount of force they were dealing with this individual was ridiculous. I kind of sat there going, looks like they took lessons from the NYPD. Because, I mean, this poor guy, I don't know what he had done, but it really wasn't necessary to kick him in the stomach. He was already down on the floor in handcuffs. It really wasn't necessary to kick him several more times in the ribs. And I wasn't allowed to videotape it. They told me that they would break my phone. So I couldn't videotape it because let me tell you, if I could videotape it, the whole world would have thought I would have put it on YouTube and said, look, not just happening in New York and Baltimore, it's happening here too. And it's I've heard from friends that live in New Mexico, the cops are relentless in that part of the world. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it's just him. I don't know. What's your take on that?
I'm a little mixed about it. You know, I know some friends had bad experiences with, you know, law enforcement. On my end, I can't really, you know, say too much. You know, I haven't had any bad experiences on my end. because, you know, I work really close with my community and the reservation and other, you know, public entities that, you know, through my youth work, I deal with a lot of law enforcement. I participate in the New Mexico Gang Task Force. I'm a part of the DWI Task Force, and, you know, so I'm not a cop or anything, but I do go out and do a lot of prevention in these fields. So I work closely with law enforcement, and then a lot of these cops are my friends, and, you know, we hang out and we have a good time, but, you know, I never had any, you know, bad situations with them, or they told me anything bad, but I've known in the past, before I started doing work closely like I have now, you know, where there have been mistreatment of, you know, individuals, where there have been, you know, cases of people dying,
right,
and, you know, unsolved, you know, type of stuff, and so, you know, I still have my, you know, on the fence type of feelings about certain, you know, situations, but
I do too.
I know majority of my, you know, my friends or peers, you know, they'll have a lot of issues with cops, and I think, you know, the whole deal around the country dealing with, you know, the cops and the perception that they're, you know, portraying, you know, has a lot of good and bad to it, because, you know, even if you put on let's say, a McDonald's uniform, you're going to have a certain expectation for that. But if you put on a cop uniform, you know, there's a sense of empowerment. There's a sense of, like, you know, I'm a badass, and you do what I say. And that's
absolutely
proven. It's clinically proven, you know, in case studies that's taken place. You know, where they actually, you know, banned studies like that because, you know, it's psychologically impacting on other people. But this whole deal it's all about power. You know, everybody wants to overpower other people and not realizing what it's doing. And you know, the stuff that happened in Baltimore, you know, there was like over 4,000 people that were peacefully marching. But yet on the sidelines, you had people, you know, yelling at them racially, and it's bound for somebody to snap. You know, with everything going on with me, with the thousands of hate and death threats I'm getting, I'm just maintaining a positive mind, because, you know, if I break, you know, it lets them win. And I think, you know, us as people, we shouldn't let those type of things impact their lives, but, you know, just try to, you know, do as much positive stuff out there. So that way,
absolutely,
you kill them with a smile and with kindness, and
absolutely.
And you can't. I think Martin Luther King said, like, you can't kill darkness with darkness. I might be saying it wrong, but it's something similar to that. You know,
well, Lauren, I really appreciate you joining me tonight. Unfortunately, I am out of time, but I've had such a warm response from the chat room, and you know, my show is always a voice for you and all the Native American people. I'm always here for you guys. I'm always here to get a message through to the people. I stand with you and all of our Native brothers and sisters, and I really appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for everyone out there listening and supporting. You know, do something kind for somebody. You know, even a stranger is all I say. You know, and always have a positive mind and speak your mind and your heart.
Absolutely. Thank you. And on that note, everyone out there, give a big round of applause to my guest, Lauren Anthony. Very much a positive thing for the future here. Everyone have a great Friday night. Thank you for joining me, and stay tuned for the Paranormal Lounge. We'll be back next week. Light and love to everyone. Peace out. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.